Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. I can see you all filing through the virtual door. Everyone, take a virtual seat. Welcome. Welcome. This is the College of Law Practical Legal Training session. So we are glad that you are joining us from all across Australia. My name is Jackie Owen and I'm joining you from Queensland, and online tonight we've got my colleagues Ruth Barron, who's joining us from Sydney, Kelly Cox also in Sydney, and our colleague Anita Hall also joining us from Brisbane. So welcome from all around Australia, and thanks very much for being here this evening. We will be recording tonight, so please feel free to pop any questions that you might have in the, if you could use the Q&A option rather than the chat, that's just a little bit more manageable. We do have our wonderful colleague Ellen Reese, who's also joining from Sydney, and she will be womaning the chat box, the Q&A box, answering all your questions. Now, there is a lot of people online this evening, so if Ellen doesn't get to your specific question, if we do run out of time, we're going to be mindful of the hour. We're going to have someone look at all those questions in the next couple of days, and we will get back to you directly via email. So you will get an answer to your question, but hopefully all of your questions will be asked this evening. So thank you very much for joining the College of Law this evening for our practical legal training presentation. I'm going to flick on some lovely slides that we've prepared earlier for you, and we'll have a chat about those as we go through. So hopefully everyone can see those here. So as I said, welcome from all across Australia, and these are your practical legal training guides. I did see this session advertised as the experts in practical legal training, which was slightly scary to me, but I guess we are, ladies, I guess we are. And as I've just mentioned on screen, we've got Kelly Cork. She's our relationship manager based in New South Wales. She's been with the college a long time, but fairly new in the relationship manager role, and she's very excited to be part of this presentation this evening. And we've got Anita Hall, who is a practical legal training lecturer and mentor for the College of Law Queensland, and she's worked for the College of Law for many years. We won't even mention how many, probably the longest serving out of all of us. And my name is Jackie Owen. I'm the relationship manager in Queensland. So any Queensland students on the call tonight, you might have bumped into me on campus, and if you do see me in the future, please come up and say hello. And then Ruth Barron, who is our careers advisor, one of two wonderful, amazing careers advisors that only College of Law students have access to, and we'll be virtually introducing you to our lovely colleague Susan. So between Ruth and Susan, they do a wonderful job of looking after College of Law PLT students, and we'll talk a little bit further about what that involves and what Ruth can help you with when you are here at college. But certainly a great benefit of being at the College of Law is being able to access Ruth and Susan. So we're really excited that they're part of our PLT team. So before we get started, as we gather for this presentation, I recognise that many of you are watching online are all on different lands of different traditional custodians, and us as a group would like to acknowledge all of the traditional custodians of the lands we're each present on today, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of our audience today, or indeed watching this recording at a later date. And we pay our respects to each of their elders, past, present and emerging. But welcome to everyone, wherever you may be across this wide, beautiful land of ours. So let's get into some fun stuff all about practical legal training at the College of Law. So where's next? Well, I hope it isn't a great shock to anyone that just having a university degree from wherever you may be studying your law degree isn't enough to call yourself a lawyer. In fact, you can get yourself into a little bit of hot water from the admitting bodies and the powers that be if you do call yourself a lawyer or represent yourself to be a lawyer before you have been officially admitted as a legal practitioner in the state in which you wish to practice. So, of course, it is essential that you have that academic law degree from whatever university you are currently studying at. That is the first thing on the to-do list towards becoming a lawyer. It is an essential part. So congratulations to those of you who, no matter where you are in your course, but special congratulations to those that might be graduating soon or maybe within the next year. That's a huge achievement and something for you all to be very proud of. If you are in the earlier years of your course, well done for being here. I really do encourage students to come and listen to this information no matter what year they are in within their law degree. So, of course, once you've ticked that off your to-do list, practical legal training is the next thing to do, or PLT as we like to shorten it to. And practical legal training will actually earn you another qualification, another postgraduate qualification on top of your university law degree. So that will be a graduate diploma of legal practice, and something you can frame and pop up on the wall next to your degree, and you can feel very learned. So that is the second thing, of course, that you need to do. Once you've completed your PLT at the College of Law and have obtained the graduate diploma of legal practice and your completion certificate, you will then move forward and go through the admissions process in whatever state you are in, whatever state that you want to practice in. So even if you do PLT in, say, Queensland, and then decide you're moving to New South Wales or Victoria, you would then apply for admission in that state. So it doesn't matter what state you do PLT in, you can practice in any state, but you do need a practicing certificate for the state that you're practicing in, if that makes sense. So to find out further information, go to the admitting body, the website of the admitting body in your state, and there should be information about how to apply for admission in your particular state. We won't go through that tonight because it's a little bit different in each state. Most states will have an admission ceremony. There was one a couple of weeks ago here in Queensland. I was lucky enough to attend, and basically, I'm guessing it's very similar in each state. Each person being admitted will stand up in the order. They will have nominated a practitioner who is admitted themselves, could be a lawyer, could be a barrister, to move their admission, and they have to state the person's name, where their university degree is from, where they did PLT, and that they have the recommendation of a board. Those are the words for Queensland, assuming it's quite similar in every state. The judges will sort of nod and say that that person should be admitted, and you sit down. At the end, everyone stands up and says the appropriate oath and allegiances, and then we file out, and then they'll sign the roll, and then you can see that everyone with their certificate will join friends and family and take some lovely photos, and then quite often go to a lovely lunch. So that's the admission day. Then you'll apply for your practicing certificate in the state in which you want to practice, and then you can call yourself a lawyer. So that's the process. And you can see there's some very happy faces there in that crowd. Okay, so let's talk about specifically what we're going to do as part of PLT and how it's all broken up. So I do love this analogy. You've built the boat, now we're going to teach you to sail it. So university is all about learning the theoretical foundations of the law. It's very important. This is your nice, solid foundation on which you can then build your practical skills. So theoretical side of learning about the law at uni, and then we're going to give you the practical tools to teach you how to sail that nice solid ship out into lawland, and you'll be able to work as an entry-level lawyer with confidence and competence as well. So it's about learning how to do the law, and Anita's going to elaborate on that shortly for you. Okay, so a question that Kelly and I and some of our colleagues in other states get asked quite often is, okay, when can I start PLT? Everyone's very excited to get through their law degrees or get to the end of their law degrees and start PLT ASAP, if not sooner, and get to admission. So the answer to that is you can start PLT when you have completed your Priestley 11. So that's your core subjects, and you have no more than 2 electives left. And this is not a College of Law rule. It's actually the admitting body rule, and it's the same for all providers across all states. So when you've completed the last exam of your law degree or received permission from the Legal Practitioners Admission Board in your state. So if you've completed your Priestley 11 and have no more than 2 electives, apply for that early permission, and then you can come into PLT at the College of Law. So you could be starting it in your final semester of uni if you meet those criteria. And most of the time you go online to the admitting body's website and just fill in an online form and gain that permission. Just do allow maybe a week or so to get that permission before you are starting PLT. And if you've received your exam results by the program start date, that's great. Look, sometimes people haven't got those results in and they do start PLT, but they've done all their exams, that's all finished, and then they get the results into us as soon as possible. So we can give you further information if you do want to talk to us directly. You can contact our student services and you can talk about your specific situation after or later on in the week or in the future if you would like to do that. Okay, so this is how we're going to break up PLT to explain it to you. First of all, I'm going to ask Anita to chat about the coursework component. So that is the first checkbox box for PLT. So each of you will have to tick off coursework, you'll have to tick off work experience, and you'll have to tick off continuing professional education. Those are the 3 course pillars. And you'll do this most of the time by your course end date, but don't worry if you don't quite get everything done by the course end date. You do have extra time afterwards, but that will of course delay you getting your final documents for admission. But coursework is the first part. You'll attend workshops and complete 4 compulsory subjects, and then you'll choose 2 electives, and that's your program. So each course will start with a week of online workshops. So that's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 in most cases. And that's what we call our intensive workshop week. Sometimes we call it an on-site, but it's week 1 intensive basically, and that's done full-time for both the part-time and the full-time course, and then full-time students will complete an additional 14 weeks of work, but there's no lectures or tutorials to attend. That's all done in and around the rest of your life, work, family, caring commitments, work-life balance, balancing out that life. You'll have 15 weeks in total to complete that course. Part-time students, they are usually working and they'll do it at half the pace. So they'll do it over 30 weeks in total. So week 1 is that full-time week, Monday to Friday, face-to-face, 9 to 5. And then the remaining 29 weeks are done sort of half that pace, which is really at a part-time pace. If you're working, I do recommend doing that option. So that's the coursework component, and Anita's going to give us a little bit further information about that. Now, the work experience option is the second component, and this is applying your knowledge to everyday legal problems in a legal environment. So it's actually putting into practice what you've been learning through your law degree and at PLT. So I'm going to give you a little bit more information about this after Anita's talked about coursework. And then Kelly's going to chat to you about the third pillar of the course, which is continuing professional education. And we have a pretty unique program to tick off this component, and that is our legal and business skills area. So it's pretty unique to the College of Law, and we've got a little bit more information to share with you about that shortly. So if you're wondering what those compulsory subjects and electives are, I'll leave you to read those. They're similar to subjects that you would have done at university potentially, but it's very much about the next level. So, sorry, that's my chair that keeps flashing back black there. It's the postgraduate sort of advanced level of the theoretical and very much the practical sides of those subjects as well. So you would have learnt the theory at university. This is the postgraduate practical side. And the electives that you'll choose will be based on where you're working now, where you see yourself going, what you've enjoyed at university, or, you know, maybe you throw some darts at a dartboard. The choice is absolutely yours. Sometimes the firm that you're working for will help make the decisions as well, if they're paying for your program. So those are the coursework subjects. And of course, it's all about learning by doing. And there's no long exams to write, no essays, no long lectures or tutorials. So it's simulated legal practice. So it's the closest thing you can get to practicing the law without actually practicing the law. So it's a safe, secure, supportive environment where no one is going to go to jail or lose their family or their business or their home, or nothing serious is going to happen, but you will have some actual practice at doing some of these things that are listed there. So drafting contracts, drafting statements of claims and affidavits, practicing announcing yourself in court, those sorts of things, letters of advice, and definitely advocacy and client interviewing as well. So it's giving you that on your feet experience and actually practice in doing the things that an entry level lawyer would very likely be asked to do by your supervising partner or solicitor. So before we, I'll invite Anita to come back and chat further, but this is really the circle of life at the College of Law. We will be learning by doing, and then actually practicing those legal skills. We'll be submitting it to our I guess our boss or our supervising partner in the simulated work situation, which is actually your lecturer, someone much like Anita. And then that person will be giving you feedback. You'll be learning, reviewing that feedback, learning from that feedback, and then making your work better the next time you do it. The next time you do it might be actually in real life. So that's what we're aiming to do at the College of Law. So I might go across here and stop sharing my screen so that I can give Anita control. And we're going to peel back the curtain of the College of Law and show you what you will have access to when you're here as a student. So over to you, Anita. Thank you very much.
What you have on your screen here is the civil litigation subject. Now, this is a Queensland-based subject, but it's structured in the same way for each of the states. And so this is just to give you an idea of how the course actually works and how it looks. So you know that it's not to do with the theory of law, because you've already done that, or you're currently doing that rather, with your undergraduate degree. This is really about how does that apply in practice. So with the College of Law, what we're doing is we're trying to help you apply the theory that you've already learnt into the day-to-day business of actually being a lawyer. It all does click eventually, I promise. Sometimes it feels like, why am I learning this at university? Well, coming to the college and doing that PLT program is really the first step in starting to put those two things together. So civil litigation, and every subject is set up in the same way. So we've got a little bit of an introduction about what civil litigation practice is and what you'll be doing. And so this page here, the first page, is really quite similar to what you would be used to with your syllabus for your subjects in your undergraduate and your law qualification studies. Each of the subjects is divided up into a number of tasks. So you can see here, civil litigation, we have 3 tasks, and each of those tasks are divided into a number of activities. So the tasks are made up of activities which relate to each other in an area that you will be working in, or a common thing that you might have to do in that subject area. So for example, task 1 in civil litigation is about assessing the merits of the case. What do you need to think about? What do you need to advise the client? And how do you actually go about starting those proceedings? So there's 3 activities in that task, which together form that, okay, how do we actually go about starting proceedings if we want to sue someone? So if I click into this task 1 button, it will take me to the homepage for that particular task. And you can see here that we've got task 1.1, task 1.2, and task 1.3. So those are our three actual activities that we're going to be working on. And here's a little summary about what we're going to be doing. If we hit the next, or if we go into one of those particular buttons here, so we can click into those, we'll come up with the instructions for that particular activity. So here you can see that we're using a model, which we've already taught you in that intensive skills week, but there's resources here to remind you and refresh your memory if you happen to have forgotten, or you maybe missed something, or just want to make sure that you're covering everything you need to. So you're going to be advising your client, you're going to be identifying weaknesses, you're going to be anticipating potential defenses, and we're going to be coming to an assessment of what we think our client's chances of success are, which is what you'll be doing in practice. And so here, we give you everything that you're going to need in order to be able to do that. So we've got a file. So if I click on that, it will download a PDF, which gives me the instructions that I'm going to be working with. So my particular client's file and the information the firm, the College of Law firm, has for you to work with. And we've got a template document for you as well. So we're not asking you to create something from scratch. We've got the template for you to work with, which will help guide you as to what it is that you're going to be doing. Now, you can see here that for this activity 1.1, where we're just thinking about our client's case and what's involved and what we know and what we might need to know, we've got a number of other tabs here. So we've got resources, that's material which is going to help you work your way through this activity. We've got a case study, so that's a practice one for you to work on, and obviously the submission tab where you actually upload your own work. So let's jump into resources. So you can see here we have our essential resources, and these are the things that are the most useful. And so we try and really narrow that down to help you hone in as quickly as possible into what you actually need to know. So we have some notes, so steps, a pathway, and the proof-making model again. So these are short PDFs of, sometimes they're diagrams, sometimes they're a summary of what the actual process is about. And then we actually give you links to the practice papers. So the practice papers are the textbooks that the College of Law puts together, and we review those regularly. I've just finished my part of this year's review. It's a very painstaking process, ask me another time. But you can see here that we actually give you the specific paragraphs within that chapter. So if I click on this link here, and I'm not going to, just in case it breaks the internet, but if I click on this link here, it will actually open up a PDF of the textbook. So I have opened it up. So you can actually look at that whenever you want to. It's all of the information is there online. So if you want to actually read that on your iPad on the train while you're going to and from work, or you just find that more convenient to be able to port that around and pick it up, you can. But we actually do tell you these particular chapters, these particular paragraphs rather. So this chapter has a lot of relevant information, but if you really need to hone in, just go to these sections, and relevant legislation. So you don't have to try and guess and figure it out. We actually give you some guidance as to where you need to look to start with. And of course, relevant websites. Now, civil litigation, all of the courts are going to be up there, of course, and some further of those practice paper textbook chapters for you. If we go into our case study, this is a practice session for you to work through on your own. So we've got our facts here, and then there's this expert system for you to go through and figure out, okay, so I need to identify the plaintiff. Who is going to actually be the plaintiff in this scenario? And if we click those, we can check that and you can see that, oops, I've got that wrong, but you can have another go, or you can just show the solution to help you work through. So this is designed to help you learn how to do this particular activity. And we do that for, there's not case studies in every single activity because not all of them require it, but we do those where it's helpful for you to actually start to think about things in a particular way. Now, if we go into our submission page, so our little tab, we can click into that. So we've got some information about what we're submitting, our compliance rules, of course. If we hit start assignment, you'll come to an upload box. So you literally just upload your file and submit it. It is as simple as that. And so we go through the particular subject. We can just keep hitting our next button. We go into the next activity, exactly the same sort of setup. So we've got our resources, our instructions, our resources, our case studies. and our submission. And we just keep doing that throughout the subject. Now, your lecturers will often post announcements or topics to the discussion forums to help you, to guide you and to answer questions and those sorts of things. So you have that interaction with someone like me on the end of the learning portal here, or via email, or you can set up a session to talk to us on the phone or via web conference or those sorts of things. At the end of, once you've submitted that activity, I look at it, or someone like me, whoever's in charge of your particular course. So I'll have a look at it and I'll make some comments on it. So it might be, hey, this is a really great job. What would you do different next time to help prompt you? Or it might be, I think you might need to go back and have a look at the instructions because you've missed, it might be the time limitation period, for example, and that can be quite important. Have a think about why the client needs to know that. So I'm giving you some information about what you could think about or what might need a little bit of improvement. If it's not yet at the level that we'd expect of an entry-level lawyer, so someone starting out, think of that as something that you would be happy to hand to your supervisor, and they might still make some tweaks because they just love their red pens, I swear. But it's a good draft that could go out to the client in an absolute emergency, but the person that you're working for might like to finesse it in terms of style and those sorts of things. So if it's not yet at that standard, I'll ask you to have another go, and I'll give you some idea of what you might have missed or what you might need to think about to improve that, and you'll have an opportunity to resubmit that to get it to that standard. Once all of the activities for the subject are at that standard, we move into our oral assessment. Now, it is a 100% face-to-face oral exam, which sounds terrifying, I know, but what it is me on the other side of the camera or one of the other lecturers across the college, and we're having a conversation about what you needed to know, why it was important for your client to know that, where you found the information, what you might do in practice if there were things that were missing or if you encountered that sort of situation. So those questions that we ask you in that oral assessment are designed to draw what you've learned from those activities. So if you've done the work, you should be able to walk into that oral assessment confident that you'll achieve a pass. You really should. And I keep it fairly relaxed. It's not an interrogation, a quick fire, rapid round of questions. It really is that conversational approach, very similar to how you might have in practice with a supervisor when they're asking you, okay, so why did you do this? Tell me your thinking to get there. Those sorts of questions. So you will have covered everything that we're going to ask you. I know a lot of your law professors at university love trick curly questions. We usually don't. And then, of course, you have your grades. So you can see here that you have each of your activities, and what you'll get here is a competent or not yet competent for those activities. So we're just looking at, does this meet the standard expected of an entry-level lawyer? Yes or no? Great. Once it says competent, great. We move on. And the oral assessment is where you get that actual grade out of 100. And that is the, so your past credit distinction or high distinction, which is what actually appears on your transcript when you complete. And that is a subject in a nutshell.
Thanks, Anita. That was a great description of how each subject works at the College of Law, so we really appreciate it. I do love doing this session with one of our lecturers because it really is a great way to hear directly from the people who'll be mentoring you, teaching you, guiding you through the course. So thanks for your questions that are coming in. I know my colleague Ellen is furiously typing and answering those, so she's working through those questions. So if you've got any further thoughts or questions, please pop it in the Q&A box. But there's certainly some questions coming up that we'll be talking about shortly with, for example, the work experience. So let's go back to the slides and we'll keep chatting. So if you do have any further questions about anything specifically in coursework, please put your questions in that Q&A box, or certainly give us a call through to our student services area, or send us an email after this presentation. We'll be certainly glad to get back to you with any further information. Okay, so we've had a pretty good chat about the coursework side of things. So that's the first criteria ticked off, hopefully, throughout Anita's talk. So let's talk about the second pillar of practical legal training, and this is work experience. Now, this is a little bit different for Western Australian people, so I will be mentioning a little bit different when I get to the second option. But we have three options for you. Now, the first, I'm actually going to do them in reverse order to what's on this slide. So our standard option is our 75 days of work experience. So we call that our standard option. Our second option is our short format, which is in most states, 15 days of work experience with an additional subject called our clinical experience module, which is a 6-week online program with an additional body of work, of course. Now, if you're in Western Australia, you only have, you do 25 days of work experience and your additional subject is only 5 weeks because you are doing an extra 10 days of actual work experience. So that's a small difference there, and that's just a decision made by the Western Australian admitting body to do that a bit differently. And then we have, I guess it's our COVID option. So this was never available before the global pandemic, but in 2020, when it all started happening, jobs, especially those work experience, volunteer roles, those sort of short-term PLT options started drying up. We watched them very sadly fall off our jobs board pretty much by the minute. So the College of Law went to the admitting body in every state and organised a third option. And this is 0 days of work experience with an 8-week online program. Plus, we match you with a one-on-one mentor. So each group that comes in, so each cohort that comes into the College of Law in each state, sort of each start date cohort, will be given an online mentor. So you'll have someone like Anita who is dedicated to your group. So it'll be someone from your state that's dedicated to your group. So they are the online mentor for your group. But if you do choose this option, which is a 0 day, it's called the in-practice component, you'll do the 0 days of actual work experience, but you'll have a mentor that we will allocate you. So we'll organize that for you. You don't have to find your own mentor, and they will mentor you through an additional 8-week program, which sort of mimics the world of work. So they are essentially your supervisor, and they'll be putting you through your paces and mentoring you through that body of work. So at the moment, that is available until mid next year, so end of financial year in 2023. The admitting bodies in each state are the Chief Justice is in charge of saying yay or nay when this may or may not finish. So we would like it to go on longer. However, we're beholden to the people that the organisations and the bodies that do govern what we can do. So they might say that that's it from after June 30, but they might extend it for another 6 months. So that may or may not be here when you're here. So let's go through all of these options. So the standard options of 75 days of work experience. Now, someone asked a really good question in the question and answer box, and I wanted to address that question. So the question was, do you have to wait a certain period of time before you can start your work experience? Well, the good news is if you're working now or have already done some legal work experience, you might have actually already done some of your work experience. So 60 of those 75 days can actually be claimed retrospectively. So if you can find 60 days, so 60 days of work experience in the 2 years prior to you commencing PLT, you can use those towards your 75 days. So you don't even have to wait till you've started PLT to be accruing days. So if you are in your penultimate year or your earlier years of your law degree, that's a really good tip for you to actually look for legal work experience in your final year or your penultimate year at university, because you'll be able to claim 60 of those days. They can be at different employers, and you simply do a couple of forms, and those are all available on our website. So 75 days in total. So the final 15 days has to be completed during the course of your PLT, or you've actually also got 2 years after you finish your coursework. So yes, that first week you're with us Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and let's not do anything crazy like working nights, because one must sleep as well. So pretty much from that second week of PLT, yes, you can be returning to work and starting to rack up those final 15 days. So let's just say you were working full time and you're going to come and study practical legal training with us part time. And let's just say, for argument's sake, you're going to be starting in November, so next month. You would look back to November 2020 and you would count, you would write down on your form 60 of those 75 days. And again, they can be with different employers. Then after you've done your intensive workshop week, which is week 1, you'll return to work from week 2 onwards, and you'll be doing your PLT at night and on the weekends, and you'll be starting to tick off those final 15 days. As a part-time practical legal training student working full-time, you can claim 5 days a week towards those 15. You have to be doing a minimum of 2. So you can claim 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days a week, depending on your work situation. Now, if you are a full-time student, you're only allowed to claim 2 days a week. And for the final 15 days, you do have to be doing a minimum of 2 days. So basically, you're claiming 2 days, 2 days. So even if you are working more, the rules set down by the admitting bodies say that you can only claim 2 days a week. It used to be 0, so it's good that it's at least 2. But that's only for the duration of the coursework. Once you finish the coursework, you can go back to finishing claiming 5 days a week. And also you can claim some of your 60 days at 5 days a week before you start PLT. And that's because we place a lot of importance on work-life balance and well-being and mental health. And we do touch on this in that first week, and we do not want you to burn out before you've even started. So that's what that is all about. So that's the standard option, and at the end of that 75 days, once you have had it all signed up, you'll also complete a reflective journal. That's just on the final 15 days. So if you'd like to see what that journal is all about, it's available to be downloaded from our website. Now, if you are interested in the short format, that is 15 days and a 6-week program in most Australian states and territories, apart from the special people in Western Australia who will do 25 days of work experience with an additional 5-week online program. So it's just a difference of a week and 10 days there. So for the 15-day people, you can do, you have to do those 15 days during PLT or after PLT. So pretty much in line with the standard option. Western Australia people can retrospectively count 10 days before they start PLT, with the final 15 days have to be done during PLT or after PLT like everyone else. And then once you've done those 15 or 25 days, you will have those signed off. You'll sign all the paperwork, your supervisor will sign all the paperwork, and then you will enroll in your appropriate clinical experience module. Most of the time you enroll in one that's running in your state. Now, if you are studying with us full time, you'll complete your 15 weeks of coursework, and then you will commence that additional 5 or 6 week program from week 16 onwards. So pretty much after your coursework. So 15 weeks of coursework, and then moving in to your clinical experience module if you've completed your work experience. Now, you could do your coursework, then you could do your 15 or 25 days, then you can enroll in the clinical experience module. You'll just enroll in the next one that you're eligible for. And then you'll do all the assessment for that. And there is an additional cost because an additional subject, and I'll mention that a little bit later on. If you are coming to us in the not too distant future and are interested in the 0-day option, you will enroll in the additional 8-week program at the same time in week 16. So part-time people will be eligible for the short format or the in practice component halfway through. So at week 16, full-time people will be after your coursework, also at your week 16, if that makes sense. So those are the options. If you've got any further questions about work experience, please put it in the Q&A box and Ellen will get you some specific information. But that is the 3 work experience options we currently have for you. Some of you, if you're not coming to us for a couple of years, it might only be 2 by the time you get here, which is great because that means that the profession is back to where it was before the pandemic. It's getting there. All right, I'd like to take a breath and give you a break from listening to the dulcet sounds of Jackie Owen's voice and hand you over to the wonderful Kelly Cork, who's going to talk through our continuing professional education component. So thanks, Kel. Hand over to you.
Thanks, Jackie. So this is one of the many acronyms that you will learn in your practice as a lawyer. So this is CPE, Continuing Professional Education. It might also be known as CPD, so Continuing Professional Development, CLE, Continuing Legal Education, PD. There are many acronyms, but it's all the same thing. But when you're admitted as a lawyer, you will have to do 10 hours per year of continuing professional education. And across most states, you'll need to do 4 of those hours so 1 hour in substantive law, 1 in professional ethics and responsibility, 1 in practice management and legal business skills, and the other is, professional skills. So that will be covered. So all these are covered in the course, but we want you to get used to doing 10 hours per year. So you'll be doing 10 hours of self-paced online modules. You can do these in just one Netflix binge, or you can do them at your own pace, just a little bit as you go through the course. We chose legal tech and business skills for this. This is where we feel like you can add a lot of value just immediately to your practice once you get into work after finishing with us. So it's also, you get at the end of it a certificate of legal tech and business, and it's just another thing to add to your CV. And when you get started into practice, you can be really strategic about how you plan your CPD each year. The college does offer CPD, but really it'll be, where are you practicing? What do you want to learn? What skills do you need to add? So you can be really strategic about how you do that going forward. But we kind of take care of this for you for this year. Jackie, can we get to here we go. Oh. All right, so really you can choose anything that fits for you. So just to kind of reiterate what Jackie was saying, you can really choose the course that works best for you. I've been looking at the Q&A and a lot of you have so many responsibilities and so many different things you're juggling. So really you can find a course that suits your life and your work and your family situation. So whether you want to do it 100% online, so from wherever you are, you do not need to come in person. You will be totally online and do it at your own pace, with the exception of that first skills week, which will be online, but just set hours. Or we have blended options. So if you want to come face to face, we do have that option as well. And we go across the country. So we are in a lot of regional areas, and we'll show you where on a map soon, day or evening. So if there's a certain time, for the blended ones, especially when you will need to be, present at a certain time, day or evening courses, 15 or 30 weeks. So that's a full-time or part-time option. I'm seeing a lot of questions about how much time we recommend you set aside. So for the 15-week option, we recommend you set aside like a full-time job, about 35 hours per week. And then for the 30-week part-time option, you can set aside about 17 hours per week. There are over 115 intakes per year. So you will never hear the course is full, or you have to wait a month to start. You usually will have to wait no more than 1 to 3 weeks to start. So really just start whenever you're ready. Really intakes are throughout the year. So again, the course content is just skills for real life. So you'll be doing role plays, you'll get feedback along the way. All of our lecturers are practicing solicitors. So they really treat you like colleagues. So from right when you start your course, you are a colleague of theirs and they'll treat you like that. So you are now a lawyer for this course. So they might be doing file notes, letters of advice, and you really do get feedback in a constructive environment. So you'll sit down with the lawyer, with your lecturer lawyer, and during the program there'll be 6 times, and you'll get constructive criticisms and conversation just to improve your skills. I shouldn't say criticisms because it won't be criticism. It'll just be teaching you how to think differently and to really just restructure what you've said or done. And sorry, too far. So we also have a lot of people to support you while you're studying. So you'll see on the left, that is Emma. She is our customer engagement advisor. So any questions you have prior to your studies, right now, anytime in your studies at all, you don't have to be about to start with us. If you're just in your first year, reach out to Emma and she can chat with you about what you can do and what your options are with us and when you are ready to start. She is also actually a law student at Charles Sturt University. So she understands what you're going through and she can give you great advice. We also have Glenn. He is the head of our student services team. So there is an entire team to support you throughout your studies. So any questions you need to, might need to change an elective, advice on, your course, just get in touch with Glenn's team. They're so helpful. You can also reach out to your lecturer. So Anita, if she might be your lecturer if you're in Queensland. Ash is pictured right here. He's one of our lecturers in New South Wales. We also have a careers team, a national careers team. Pictured is Susan, and I'm going to hand over to Ruth, who is in New South Wales.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ruth Ferron. I'm the National Careers Advisor at the College of Law. And just like you, I studied law and then went to the College of Law to pursue my first dream job as an environmental lawyer. Then I worked as a science journalist, which was, yes, my second dream job. And now I'm a career coach. And yeah, you guessed it, this is my third dream job. For most of you, though, the reason why you're studying law and thinking of studying PLT at the College of Law is because you want to secure a job. And that's where the career service comes in. So Susan Pincus, who's pictured there, she's a national careers professional, and we offer half-hour one-on-one consultations to help you with your career. And these sessions cover things like career planning, job search strategies and applications, personal branding, LinkedIn and social media profiles, and also how to perhaps best position yourself with your transferable skills to enter the legal market. So it's a lot more than just CVs and cover letters. And we also field questions on how to get work experience. That's been in the question and answer box there as well. We do field questions on that and how you can fulfill your PLT requirements by helping you put together a job search strategy and giving you the tools to find work. So the career service does not secure you work experience. We help you get the real life skills to get your own job. As a PLT student, you'll also have access to over 50 career resources that are exclusive to the College of Law. They're on topics ranging from finding a job to finding your purpose, from negotiating your salary to pivoting into law without the pay cut, and many more. We also do have, though, templates like sample CVs and cover letters as well. The career service also offers webinars for university students, PLT students, graduates. And if you're keen to attend one of these webinars, we have them on topics like professional social media profiles, navigating your legal career with a disability, how to establish an international career in law. But my colleague Susan is hosting a webinar next Thursday, the 3rd of November at 12:30. That's on Eastern Standard Time, on different ways to break into the legal profession. And one of the webinar panelists that we've got, she found her job on TikTok, and there'll also be a recruiter there talking about what employers are looking for. So I'll post a link in the chat after I've finished speaking. But even if you don't think you're going to need the career service as a PLT student straight away, we offer career consultations for alumni up to 1 year after you graduate. And Susan and I are always happy to hear from students and graduates, particularly if you achieve your career goals, like landing your dream job or your second dream job or your third job. We do actually get a lot of mature students coming to us as well, or it may be that we've helped you progress into your chosen area of law. If you do have any career-related questions, put them in the Q&A, but I'll also post my email address in the chat. You're welcome to reach out to me. As I said, I'll also post the webinar link in the chat too. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks for that, Ruth. It's Jackie back again. Sorry, I've got buttons on all sorts of screens here, so I just had to find where to turn on my video. Thanks for all the questions that are coming through. Ellen's fingers are furiously typing. She's answered 31 and she's got another 20 to go. So the answers to the questions are public, so you might like to scroll through some of those questions and just see what other people are answering as well. So thanks very much to Kelly, and thanks very much to Ruth for sharing some of the support and the information we've got available for you before you start at the College of Law, and then some exclusive support that we have for you as a College of Law student as well. So you'll get access to Ruth and Susan from when you enroll with us. Another great and I think a really exciting tool that's coming soon. So if you're coming to us probably from next year, we've also developed the working title was New Lawyer Toolbox. It might have a sexier name by the time it hits the market, but that's going to be some online resources with lots of support, some sort of pro formas of how, sort of how-to guides, our practice papers that Anita talked about, and a lot of other sort of exclusive information that will only be available to our graduates, those that have completed the practical legal training course at the College of Law. So your help and your support does not stop when you finish your PLT. So a little bit more about the College of Law. If you do end up at any of the top tier firms, there's over 30 law firms across Australia that have partnered with the College of Law. And if you end up at any of those, in any of their graduate programs, you'll be coming to the College of Law as a matter of course. And lecturers, much like Anita, we actually send down to the firm sometimes to teach down there or to assess down there. But we are the preferred supplier for most of the top tier firms. Across Australia, averaged out about 77% of graduates choose the College of Law, or their employer chooses the College of Law, but they come through the College of Law. It's higher in some states, lower in other states, depending on what's going on in the local market, but that's an Australian average that we thought was kind of fun to share. And we've been doing this for a long time. So and it's hard to believe I'm hitting a significant birthday with a 5 in front of it very soon. So pretty much my whole life, the whole life of this old lady, that is the same age as the College of Law. So 49 years we're nearly up to, and all we do is train lawyers. So practical legal training really didn't come into being till the 90s, but before that, whatever it was that was training for lawyers, we were doing it. So we've been doing it since the early 70s, and we don't do undergraduate degrees. We do postgraduate, very practical master's degrees. As Kelly mentioned, we do CPE. We also do the legal practice management course, which is the ticket that you need to hang your own shingle up or become a partner. We also do the mediation courses. So pretty much anything from university graduate onwards that is training for lawyers, we would take you from university graduate through to retirement. So the whole gambit of training for lawyers. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is we've been doing it a long time. We know what we're doing, and we'd like to say we're pretty good at it. So you can certainly trust that you're going to get a legal education that the profession requires of you. So very much our programs are developed in line and in consultation with the profession as well. Kelly mentioned that we do teach all over Australia. So we have offices or colleges in Brisbane, Queensland, Sydney, New South Wales, the ACT, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, but we do also teach in other areas as well. So we'll send people to the Northern Territory, for example. And in some states, we teach out of that CBD. So I'm in Queensland, so I'll use that as an example. We not only teach at the College of Law face-to-face in Brisbane, but we'll travel to Cairns, Gold Coast, Rockhampton, Sunshine Coast, Toowoomba and Townsville. But you can see in New South Wales, we've got Kensington, Parramatta, Wollongong, Armidale, Central Coast, Coffs Harbour. So not all of those locations run all the time. In Queensland, our regional courses run twice a year, face-to-face, and require minimum numbers of about 10. It's hard to have an interactive workshop when it's only just you and the lecturer. So we do need to have those nice group numbers, but we have 150 start dates in total across Australia. So you do not have to wait very long before the next one is starting, and it might be potentially an online one, or it would be a blended learning. So the difference is online, you're doing that week 1 in a Zoom classroom. It's like this, but everyone has to have their cameras on. We have to see that you are there. We have to put our hands on our heart, which side is my heart, on this side, and swear to the admitting body that you are in attendance at every single workshop. And the blended, you do that week 1 in person. So if you're sick of online learning, come and join us for the blended. And if you're in Sydney, come and check out the new College of Law. It's not even officially opened, but it is open. And we've had our first students there, and it's absolutely magnificent. All of our colleges are beautiful. Victoria's a bit snazzy. Brisbane's very nice, if I do say so myself. They're all beautiful, but if you are going to be in Sydney, that's our head office, and it's a little bit magnificent if we do so ourselves. So if you would like to pop by for a visit, please get in contact and we can arrange that as well. Okay, so there's been a few questions in the chat box about when do you pay? You do, yes, you can put, if you are a Australian citizen or a permanent resident, you can put your course fees of $10,150 onto Fee Help, which is the postgraduate equivalent of HECS, so that government-funded deferral. If you're an international student, it's not double, but you do need to pay those upfront, which is $13,910 for international students. So that is due. So you get that organised before you start the course. So we do have a census date, but obviously once that passes, there's no deferrals or refunds from that point, much like university. Now, I've mentioned the additional fees for the subject. So if you do the standard work experience of 75 days, you'll just pay your course fee. There's no additional program because you're just doing that reflective journal, and that includes for everyone your practice papers, which is like your practice papers are they're a hybrid of a how-to guide with a textbook that's provided. You don't have to rip down to the bookshop and spend more money. That all comes to you. You might like the online version. You might like to request a hard copy, but those are all available to you. It also includes access to your CPE that Kelly talked about. Now, if you're doing the short format, the 15-day and 6-week option for all states apart from Western Australia, that additional subject is $1,610. And then if you're in Western Australia, because you're doing the 5-week program with 25 days of work experience, it's a little bit less for you. It's $1,540. And if you're doing so you'll pay the course fees and that. If you're doing the in-practice component, which is the 0-day, 8-week, if that's still available for you, you'll pay your course fees and then an additional $2,000 for the in-practice component. And there's been a couple of questions about how long you can wait between graduating uni and starting. Look, you want to check out the stale qualification rule in your state. So go to the website of your admitting body, but on average, it's about 5 years. Queensland doesn't have it yet, but it is coming very, very, very soon. So please, I would refer everyone to their admitting body in their own state to check out what the stale qualification rule is, or you can ring through to our student services or email our student services and they'll be able to give more information if you just let them know what state you're in. Okay, we've got so many start dates, we can't even list them all. So you can see there, for example, in New South Wales and also Queensland and Victoria, you can start every month between November and June, and the other states, ACT's having a little break in December and April and June, but most months, same with Western Australia, most months you can start practical legal training at the College of Law. So the Northern Territory, we just do, we don't have an office there, so we go up there when needed, but there's a special course a couple of times a year up there too. But if you're not sure, check out our website, CoLaw, so COLLAW.edu.au/PLT for practical legal training. So check out our website and you'll be able to click on the dates. Now, we've put together a little bit of I think some things to think about really when you're selecting a PLT provider, and we encourage you to do your research as to what's available in your state. But do they have regular intakes? Well, at 150 intakes a year, yes, you will not have to wait a whole semester or 6 months to do a College of Law course. We've pretty much got the next one starting very, very soon if you've just missed one. So if you did want to take a little break across Christmas, we can certainly kick you off in January for sure. Study your way. We've got a part-time program of 30 weeks, a full-time program of 15 weeks. We've also got that evening program that Kelly talked about. It's available in most states. So pretty much instead of doing that week 1 intensive workshop of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, if you're, I don't know, got a lot of matters on at work, have to go to court, it's just not convenient to take that week away from the office, because you can't, even online, you can't do work and PLT. You do need to give us your undivided attention. We've taken that week 1, carved it up into about 12 workshops, and we run that twice, 2 evenings a week for 6 weeks. So that has been very super popular. We've pretty much in Queensland had to double our intakes, and then each intake's got double the students. So that's been really popular. In Queensland, we do Tuesday and Thursday evenings from 5:30. So it'll be sort of slightly different days in different states, but that's how that works. Is there a program that and Study Your Way, we also have the short format work experience, the standard work experience of 75 days, or the in practice component. So there's lots of different options, as well as doing that first intensive week face-to-face in our blended learning, and then the remainder of the course online, or you can do it completely online. So if you are maybe in a remote location or regional location outside of where the College of Law is, it's really good. You can pretty much, as long as you've got a quiet space and a good internet connection, you can do any of the programs. You're not reliant on the college, that schedule of us coming to you. So Study Your Way, lots of, I like to call it the choose your own adventure of College of Law. So any one of those combinations we can make work for you. 3, is it a program you can complete quickly? Well, if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, we can get you through in 15 weeks. So you'll need to make sure that your work experience is done, your forms are signed off, you've done your CPE, you've got in your transcripts of your degree, all that sort of stuff that you're required to do. We can get you through in 15 weeks. It's pretty much the quickest course on the market. Chat to your friends and colleagues. You won't have to, with 77% of university graduates and nearly 50 years of training lawyers, you don't have to go very far to find someone that has studied at the College of Law. So ask them about what experience they've had with us, and or ask friends who've done other programs as well, and just sort of gather the information as to what's best for you. And of course, while the college is the leading, we're the market leader in terms of, we're the biggest provider of practical legal training in the Australasian area. We're also got the dual benefit of being local in each jurisdiction as well. So each state runs its own show under this big national umbrella. So we've got sort of the support of a national and the resources of a big national organization, but each state has its own local campus. You're taught the local jurisdiction law, and you'll be taught by local practitioners. So you'll be being taught by real lawyers, real barristers, real mediators, real very experienced legal practitioners who have practiced in your state law for many, many, many years. So it's sort of the best of both worlds there. Okay, so I'd like to bring back my fellow presenters. Thanks for making it through. We've just gone a few minutes over time, but I know Ellen's been very, very busy in the notes. I see that there's still about 24 questions outstanding, so we're going to make sure that that those questions are answered either this evening or over the next few days. So we'll download a transcript and we'll make sure that each of you gets the answers to those questions. So thank you very much, Kelly Cork from New South Wales, and Anita Hall from Queensland, Jackie Owen, that's me, also from Queensland, and Ruth Barron coming to you from Sydney. Really appreciate the expertise, and Ellen Rees online behind the scenes. Thanks, Ellen. And we really appreciate that. I think there's about 120 people online at one stage. So we really appreciate you spending part of your Tuesday evening talking and listening and asking so many questions. We love questions all about practical legal training at the College of Law, and we really look forward to welcoming you to the College of Law family officially very soon or in the next couple of years. And if you do have any questions, please let us know either by giving us a call, sending us an email, or I'd also encourage you to connect with potentially Kelly and myself as the relationship managers via LinkedIn, and just note the spelling of Jackie and the spelling of Cork there, and maybe jot those down or take a picture of our names there. Find us on LinkedIn and certainly shoot us some questions, even if you just want to link with us now, and then you've got us, and if it's a year down the track, you can still send us a question. So thanks again, Team College, and thank you everyone online, and we really appreciate you being with us. I'll stop sharing. That's the button I want, isn't it? Come back. There's too many buttons when on the Zoom. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a great night, everyone. And if we haven't answered your question, we'll be back in touch with you very soon. I'm going to end the recording for everyone and wishing everyone a good night. Thanks, team.